I met Kevin at one of the stammering groups where he gave a presentation on the Japanese concept of Ikigai, where you find the purpose of your life. Uh, Kevin, when and how did the concept of Ikigai bring a change in your life?
Wow, when and how and what were the outcomes of this? So this
Yes.
is a three-part question here. So first of all, I had a fascination with psychology. I actually wanted to be a psychologist once upon a time. And actually, on my last year of dentistry, I had a real passion of studying pain management, the psychology of anxiety. And that was something that really ran through the thread of my learnings and my interest within dentistry. I did so much research and study in this that I actually was invited into a seminar and a conference for psychosomatic and psychological research. During this, after I presented my part on pain and anxiety management, I sat in on a lecture about the concept of Ikigai. And this was in about 2011. So this was a good 9 years ago. This was very, very novel to me, very, very new. And being someone with a psychology hat on, with that brain on, I've always had the curiosity of that life is more than the rat race. Life is surely more than paying my bills, paying taxes, retiring and dying. I decided that I'm not going to live that way because it seems like a very, very bleak way to live and, or would say, survive rather than thrive. It was there for me when I needed it. And I love the concept and the teachings that is, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And I love that. And I think that's when Ikigai came to me. With these questionings of what life is about, what am I doing in the life, and what are my contributions to the world, that really spoke to me. And it's something that really touched base over the years. Every few months, every few years, it's really kind of cemented and refined and defined itself in terms of what I do. So I graduated to become a dentist. Ironically, the dentistry was my vocation and profession. It was something that I was good at. It was what I get paid for. It's what the world needs. And maybe I loved it. But I think what I loved more is actually helping people rather than the dentistry per se. So actually, within a short career of 8 years of dentistry, I actually worked in about 16 different dental practices and clinics and hospitals and so on. And something was clear. And what that was is that dentistry was not my Ikigai. And that's the reason why I kept on moving on. I kept on moving on because I didn't feel comfortable. Something inside me was telling me that it's something, yes, I'm good at it. I get paid for it. The world needs it. And ever since I've been self-employed, do I call it self-employed? Ever since I've decided to create my own future and my own world, Ikigai has really allowed me to express that. And it's all about expression and not about perfection. And that's what I absolutely love. It's the journey. It's this journey of discovery of how you can serve the world. And my Ikigai is to help people find their purpose and live their truth. Because in essence, without purpose, without being incredibly dramatic, but what's the point? Without purpose, what's the point? I digress slightly. So you hear of my origin story. There are many aspects to this, but what are the changes? The changes are paramount, are very decisive and enduring. And what I mean by that is that every single day, every single moment, I am grateful for the opportunities to have another chance to serve and to live my Ikigai, which is to live my truth. And with that gratitude in mind and that true appreciation of how lucky I am, and yes, I will use lucky, in my former years of exploring self-development, people say luck is only we are lucky for being born into this world. We are lucky for the parents that we have, the education we have, the everything that we have, the running water, the everything. And with that gratitude in mind, then it's time to serve. Over to you, Krish.
Thank you, Kevin, for sharing your Ikigai experience. It's a very inspiring journey. Kevin, can you tell us that one quote which you introduced me last week? Perfection, sorry, yeah. Was it perfection is illusion and perception is illusion?
I'll get you there. Absolutely. Thank you. So I'm from a psychological background. I'm an artist at heart as well. And I'm relatively spiritual as well. And before you start tuning off, I'm not religious because I feel that religion is very, very decisive. And with language in mind, it builds in culture. So I've got the habit of exploring and playing, being playful with words. Especially with the neurolinguistic programming, because words really help define your world. So the quote, I'll quote myself, Dr. Kevin Kitt, is perception is an illusion and perfection is a delusion. And let me go ahead and break that down for you, okay? So perception is everything that you see, everything that you taste, everything that you hear, everything that you think. In terms of the world of science, there is some subjectivity to that. And I'll correct myself, there is all subjectivity to that. Everything is subjective on how you feel, how you interpret, how you perceive, how you digest and process these inputs. For that reason, it's all an illusion. An illusion, I will put it in the sense that it is just the pieces of the puzzles that you've put together and the image that you've decided that you want to see. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And when it comes to the perfection, we always say practice makes perfect, right? Practice makes perfect. However, we also say that nobody's perfect. I don't like that because it's really confusing. You can't have two rights. You can't have practice makes perfect, but there's no such thing as perfect. That simply doesn't make sense. I'm someone who's mathematical as well. You can't say x equals y, but y doesn't equal x. That doesn't make sense to me. So I come up with the concept that perfection is a delusion. Delusion meaning that it's similar to an illusion, but you're just going to go crazy at it. You're just a bit insane, a little bit mental to consider that you're going to have perfection. Perfection is a horizon. Horizon is something that you can see that you'll never ever be able to reach. A horizon is conceptual. A horizon is in the distance. The horizon is always a horizon because when you reach there, there is also always a horizon. And I compare perfection to a horizon, something to work towards, but not something to actually beat yourself down about because you don't achieve it. I'll ask you this question. Will you beat yourself down for not reaching the horizon? And how would you feel if someone was really upset because they weren't at the horizon?
That's an interesting question. I am going to think about this, and I want all of you who are watching this video, if you've made it this far, I want you to think about the question which Kevin has asked and write it down in the comment section. Thank you so much, Kevin, um, for talking to us about the concept of Ikigai, and we hope you you will uh, prosper in the near future and spread this concept across the world.
I thank you, and always prospering everywhere that I go.
Thank you.